Should old obedience be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old dark paths be forgot from an old strange time? An old strange time, my friend, an old strange time. We'll suffer our unkindnesses from an old strange time. And surely you will meet your end, and verily I mine, at the hands of horrors from an old strange time. An old strange time, my friend, an old strange time. We'll suffer our unkindnesses from an old strange time. Beneath the waves the shadows writhe with whispers so malign. They call us to their depths once more from an old strange time. An old strange time, my friend, an old strange time. We'll suffer our unkindnesses from an old strange time. And the bay called Brindlewood, built on a bloody crime, will slide into the sea, my love, and begins a new strange time. An old strange time, my sweet, an old strange time. We'll suffer our unkindnesses from an old strange time. This is Brindlewood Bay.
Welcome back to Jimmy Fame Presents Bonus Against the Machine. More pod for your bod. Sponsored by Charlie the Lizard Folks, Chicken Emporium. More cluck for your buck. I am Zach, who is still keeping Brindlewood Bay for our wonderful Pod Against the Machine players. Sam, Jeff, Jero, and birthday Izzy.
Hooray.
Now they know what day we're recording.
It's Monday.
Yeah, we're going to leave like 2 minutes of silence here for you to sing happy birthday to Izzy. And we can hear it and tell if you don't.
That's true. And we are judging each of you.
Someone is off. Very flat.
Well, that certainly isn't maybe Mabel of our Mavens, because when we were last playing Brindlewood Bay, she was backstage surrounded by people zipping, zapping, and zopping, and doing other theatrical vocal warm-ups. Yeah, I just smoothly rolled right into the recap here. We're going to go into the characters after because I just had to grab that segue and hold on to it. Additionally, kind of caught up in the spirit of the moment, but also attached to a shirtless man. Octavia. Sorry, I had to figure out where the accent was in there. It was recently just left the wrapping table for charity with Ches and Toe, the erstwhile fiance of Celia. And then our two remaining mavens, Bingo and Eloise, were in the Holly Stamp Company's archives retail experience. I don't know. It's pretty. It's sprawling. There's cranberries. So yeah, I did just reference some fantastic meddling mavens, but I am going to let the players who play them reintroduce them to you in their voices. We will start. We'll start with birthday. Birthday, Izzy, please.
Hello, it's me. Maybe also go by Mabel, but that's such a long, long name to spell and write. We don't want to do it, so we shorten it to Maybe. Don't think about it too much. I'm drawing a blank. What other things can I say? Frantically pull up my character sheet and look through all the things. I am the Scarecrow archetype, which means I got a secret mystery present right at the beginning. And also, it means that I enjoy riddle writing, and have a Jimmy Award from my long and lauded career running on stage when I'm not supposed to. Should I say anything else? Because I've really forgotten all of the things.
No. I mean, aside from the fact that as quoted, you will snatch down drapery and make a muumuu out of it. I believe that is all the most important.
Yes, just like in, what's the movie with the old man who's quite attractive to me, being an old person? The Sound of Music.
Well, that Mr. Clark Gable, did he hold a candle to Mr. Chastain?
No. In fact, Mr. Chastain always said that he was much more fond of Christopher Plummer in The Sound of Music, but
Mixed up my old hot guys there.
I don't always agree with him on that. And of course, I'm Eloise Chastain, also here. I believe, currently with Bingo, Rita, and we were having a most interesting conversation with a young man who's a member of the Hallmark family. No, that's not what they were called. The Holly family, who was attempting to shill his new children's book, but we were trying to get some information from him about these awful murders. Also, my voice has suddenly become Mabel's voice because I don't have one.
Is that right, Bingo?
That's exactly right. Hello, of course it's me, Rita. Healer, my friends call me Bingo on account of my many, many bingo championships that I've won. I'd show you all my winning bingo cards if I could find them. I'm sure they're here somewhere. I, of course, have the Gordon Shumway move, and that gives me my sweet little kitty, Queensley. And yes, we were talking to Howard, who is a smoker. He mentioned that he was out having a cigarette when he heard the paramedics coming. He told us about a clue. You know, Holly stamp card collectibles are pretty good. My favorite Holly is Buddy, but...
Ooh, you.
You know, Rivers Cuomo doesn't look a thing like him. I'll say it on record. I'm old. What is he going to do? Anyway, that's enough about me.
And then finally, Octavia.
Oh, yes, darlings. I am the 6 times widowed Octavia Henrietta Mortbouf. I am the Dale Cooper archetype, or the Dale Cooper move, which just means that I had a terrifying dream at the outset of this mystery, wherein my Christmas tree was filled with eyeballs and all the presents came to life, and I'm sure it was fine and normal. I enjoy beekeeping, of course, because while bees die even more often than husbands, there are always more. And I am, of course, the Alexis Carrington Colby style, that just enormous hats and veils. I have accidentally, of course, acquired a sort of shirtless humanoid puppy who believes that I'm going to save his engagement, though I have, of course, promised nothing of the sort.
And that beautiful piece of arm candy, Ches Oppenfieri, glistening in the snow. How is he so warm while you're so cold? A mystery to us all. So one of the things I really enjoy about this game is that Jason Cordova, the designer, encourages you to really try to play with time and scenes. And this evening, the evening that in the game that you have been in is getting kind of late for a bunch of distinguished individuals of your age. So I am actually going to say that we are going to, because we're talking about a week of gala material here, people. I think we're opening this holiday episode. I'm not going to make you redo your vignettes, but we're now in the morning of the second day of the gala, and because all of you have your own homes, you're not staying at the Rest Your Head, like the hostel that's near the Bel Canto Music Hall. You've all kind of, you're back in your cozy little places. Some of you, or one of you, got a condition, and this again comes from the book. This isn't an exhibition of holiday sadism. Jason strongly recommends that you inflict these very light conditions that cause mavens to have disadvantage in their rolling in very specific situations that relate to those conditions, to encourage them to have cozy moves, vignettes. Those things that our mavens love are more than just a wonderful facet of their gleaming personalities. They are, just like for us, what fills our gas tanks, which allows us to go out and solve murders or work at our jobs or whatever. So in this instance, it serves a dual purpose. Having a cozy scene with other mavens can remove conditions that you may have picked up, but the maven whose activity that you are doing also can find/craft a clue. Now, this clue can't have serious narrative consequence. This can't be the deciding clue that solves this mystery, but this is fully in the hands of the maven, or in this case, mavens in the scene. But generally, the discretion is given to the maven whose activity is being performed at that time. So that's it. It's the next day. You wake up. There's a whole lot going on around the city and in the gala. So let's go around the table and folks can maybe tell me what it is that they want to do. Let's start with Bingo.
Oh no, that's my character. She wants to listen to mysterious jazz music coming from her home. There's probably a radio turned on somewhere. It sounds like the smallest little saxophones. I mean, I think she'd probably want to get together with one or more of the mavens to reconvene the solving of these murders.
How do you contact the mavens? Do you do it via cell phone? Do you still have a landline? Do you all use like CB or ham radio?
The maven signal.
The ball of yarn projected into the sky.
Just each have giant spotlights.
No, it's actually just one of those like life alert pendants that we all have, and it goes off.
But they've been hacked.
My nephew was going to show me how to use this thing. Yeah, Bingo absolutely has a landline. And thankfully it's one that's attached to the wall, so she can't lose it.
Well, who are you going to give a call to?
I think I should probably roll a dice and let the dice tell me who I'm going to call.
Roll that D3.
Well, I'm going to do a D6 since it's a little easier. In an order of my Skype window clockwise. 1, 2, Octavia, Tavia. Octavia or Tavia?
I don't know.
I think it was Octavia.
Why are you
Octavia.
asking me?
I think it was like Tavia the first time, wasn't it? Like with a long A?
Okay, cool.
I don't know.
There's an
However I've
umlaut
said it.
over the first A. 1, 2, Octavia. 3, 4, Eloise. 5, 6, maybe. I didn't do that justice. I'd say edit
That
it
was
out,
excellent.
but that's gonna stay in, of course.
Gotta stay in.
Well, it's a 5, 6. I guess we're gonna zip, zap, zop.
Maybe. And that's extremely tremulous, as in old people voices.
Perfect. Yeah, she'll dial up Mabel because, of course, it's her family, Celia, that gave us these passes. So that kind of puts her, in at least Rita's eyes, in charge. So happy birthday. She goes to her landline. She punches in the number and holds the phone up to her head.
And maybe will answer her large print text cell phone.
She's got a jitterbug.
That flips open still. And I, yes, hello.
Hello, Mabel, baby, friend.
Oh my God, speak of the devil and he shall appear before you. It's Rita. Right?
Yep, you nailed it.
Great. Okay, good. I was concerned.
I've asked more than once not to be associated with old Lucifer, but here we are.
Oh, speak of the devil and he won't come around you. So that's what I always say.
I like that
Great,
one.
what's up?
Oh, just chilling. So you said what's up, and I just definitely found that funny. Along with the fact that this is clearly fiction because your cell phone was charged. Every grandparent I've known with a cell phone just never remembers to plug it in, and it's like, well, it's in my purse, or
I forgot it nearby.
yeah. But anyway, well, I was just figuring I've been awake since 4 a.m. I've had a pot of coffee. I've done the crosswords, typical stuff.
Naturally.
And was just a little eager to get back to the mystery at hand.
Yes, I've been thinking about it all night myself. I could barely sleep starting at 8 p.m. till approximately 4 a.m., like you said. Yeah, shall we get the gang back together? I would really like to discuss the matter of this pile of clues we have. The old clue pile.
Yes.
And this music stand that I've stolen from the scene.
What?
It's just mine now.
What color hair was on the music stand?
Oh, it was a fine color.
It was brown, like all of
Brown.
the folks in the Greaves family.
Just the brownest brown you ever did see. Like a tree trunk or perhaps a pile of mud.
Question. Did Miles still have brown hair, or had he gone gray?
Miles had started to go gray. I think that he had probably out of vanity continued to dye it, though.
Oh, so does the hair smell of Just for Men?
Yeah,
I
do we
mean-
think this thing was used to brain both of? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Was it both of them or just the one?
Well, only one of them had a blow to the head, so that does sort of make sense that it would match Nathan.
Yeah, true.
Yes, why would you say that? That's not what we were talking about. I guess we did.
Also, I'm not actually here. You're both imagining that.
Sorry, someone was going to say something, but I don't remember who. Zach?
It's conference call. Boop, boop.
I mean, you can definitely just pop in your other mavens. I mean, it's really like, do you want to go and meet at the Candlelight Booksellers, like where you have your normal, like your HQ? Do you feel like you solve most of your murders upstairs where you have your book club, or do you feel like you do it at somebody's house?
I'm feeling book club.
Yeah.
Book club solving feels right.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the gang is going to converge then at candlelight. So I envision you all sort of leave your house with your clues that you may or may not have taken from an active crime scene.
Myrrh and a bloody music stand.
I mean, hey, like, apparently the Brindlewood Bay PD finds the nature of Christmas to be more important than preserving the evidence at the crime scene, because they let the gala go on, and good on them, because as you walk there, there's a little bit of Christmas cheer everywhere. You know, the longest model train in the United States is set up in Brindlewood Bay, and it goes around the entire town. And it's pretty great. It does get derailed a lot because of the chipmunks and the debris and all the people throwing all of their garbage into the street, which we established in the first episode.
Yep.
But it does kind of give that delightful kind of Christmas Express chugga 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 feeling. Chooch. That's a little shout out.
You said this is a model train?
Yes, it's a model train.
Oh, okay. I was hoping it was like a kiddie train and everyone would just hop on.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of hoping for too, like the one that has the little seats that fold out that you can ride on.
The 1/12 scale ones or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Christmas one of those around here that I love.
There is a kiddie Christmas train, but unfortunately, only one of our 4 mavens has a superpower to allow them to appear young enough to ride it. So you all get to sit there and watch Eloise go in circles for a little bit.
Who has somehow convinced them that she's like 9.
It's a rough 9.
Cool kids.
She's seen some things.
That is exactly what she says. It's a rough 9.
Yeah. 3rd grade, you know. It's a hard year.
Yeah, I think actually though, Eloise, she gets up also very early in the morning, around probably like 5:30, 6 o'clock, and drinks some water with some lemon in it. She doesn't drink caffeine, and puts on one of her cardigans. She looks at the special Christmas one that she wore yesterday, but it's covered in children's stickers from the conversation with Holly. So she puts on a different winter-themed cardigan and decides she's going to head out to the, what did we call the shop?
Candle.
Oh, the Candlelight Booksellers.
Yes, the Candlelight Booksellers, because she already assumes that the rest of the mavens are on their way there without having to even be called.
Well, perhaps.
And she's going to walk there.
Perhaps her walk to the Candlelight Booksellers takes her past Octavia's place, where, of course, Ches is currently just hanging out right outside the house.
Shirtless.
Shirtless, of course, as is
Holding
tradition.
a boombox, just like...
And Octavia would flag her down while she's on her way over, while she's in her, beekeeping costume, because it's time to keep bees. In the morning is the best time to check on your bees, especially in
Golden
winter.
hour.
Mm-hmm.
And she just says, "Darling, if you could just keep me company for a moment while I check on the status of the hives, then we can skimble on down together."
Oh, Octavia, who's your young friend?
Oh, hey. This isn't my voice. Hey! No, that isn't my voice. Hey, it's
Hello?
Ches. It's Ches. That's Ches. Ches is a weird Boston accent. Yeah, that's Ches. Ches is a little slimy. Hey! It's me, Ches. Celia's fiance. How is she?
Oh, she's doing well. And she kind of darts her eyes to the side because she very clearly remembers Mabel saying that they broke up. So she's like, what is he doing here? Okay. But she just kind of smiles at him and says, oh, yes, I hear she's doing well. Anyway, Octavia, you're beekeeping. Let's do that instead.
Yes,
She just walks past Jet.
dear Ches is what we call a miscalculation on my part, but please come this way. And she'll have a second hat with a net on it for her dear friend Eloise, but of course there are no Ches size hats available.
No.
As they walk over into the backyard to just check out the bee boxes, which are color coded, very bold colors. Normally, bee boxes are like white or brown, but these are painted in very bright colors. She actually repaints them seasonally, so for the winter, they've got like a coat of bright red to stand out against the snow.
And it's absolutely horrible for the bees because they're not used to their hives being colored.
Well, it's fine for the winter because the bees don't come out in the winter. And she gives a long explanation, unlike many insects, bees do not actually go dormant during the winter, but they stay conscious the entire time. As you can see, and she'll take off the lid, they're all huddled together for warmth. They actually use vibrations to keep the entire hive at a balmy 65 degrees. My voice drifted again.
Interesting.
I'm attempting to use a cozy move here to have engage in a cozy activity with another maven while using the bees to perhaps scare Ches off.
Oh yeah, no. And he's terrified by anything that can pass the Bechdel test. So he's out of there the moment
The two of us start talking about bees instead of him.
Absolutely, he's gone. So yes, you can remove the condition attached to Ches. It's a shame that we hadn't found a moment where that could make you roll at disadvantage. But honestly, the birth of situations that could be included where he would be a disadvantageous partner is relatively large. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure any role where Ches is nearby would be a role that he could interfere in.
And now that you've had that fantastic cozy move, and that little cozy vignette, you actually get to choose or dictate a clue, like I had mentioned before. So, Mavens.
I think like something that we might have thought of, like going over the bees. It would be like, oh, that makes me think of whatever. But I can't think of a way like that other than being social insects and maybe thinking of that in terms of the Greaves family or the Holly family or something. I don't know if Sam's got something better than that we could come up with a clue idea from.
How about an apiary covered in blood and hair?
Whoa.
Sam,
We found the other murder weapon.
And a note that says,
one of
I am the one
Octavia's.
who killed the...
Oh,
It was Octavia.
the reason that the Elder Greaves didn't have a blow to the head, perhaps he's allergic to bees.
Or allergic to some... Oh, I got it. That's perfect, Jeff. I got a thing. So maybe as part of scaring off Ches, maybe at one point, Eloise maybe loudly says, "Oh yes, those the stings are real awful, and I hear they can be especially bad, cause an allergic reaction if you're young and you don't tend to wear a lot of clothing." And maybe the clue is makes us think oh, since Miles didn't have any signs of injury, maybe he was poisoned or was allergic to something, something was slipped to him that caused his death. And would that work as a clue maybe?
So that isn't a specific thing, but I do think that a poisoning, or the concept of a poisoning, could be a clue. I think that's the possibility. It's not like somebody was specifically poisoned or that but the poisoning, yeah. So there's that you could pull from that, or being allergic to something. But I would say that you could take that a little bit further and say that maybe one of you had discovered that somebody was allergic to something, Nathan or Miles, in your conversations with someone.
Yeah, the talk of bee stings makes us remember that Miles was deathly allergic to strawberries or something. And somebody slipped him a strawberry Mickey.
Oh, wait, not strawberry. What was the Christmas berry
Cranberry?
Oh,
from the story?
cranberries.
Cranberry. Yes.
Christmas berry.
He's deathly allergic to cranberries.
All right, so the clue is Miles Greaves' deathly allergy to cranberries. So that's also on the list. And that's a pretty, write in if you think that is me violating the clue being too specific from a cozy vignette. But by the time that you hear this, we will have already recorded it, so your writing in would be in vain.
Unless you're very, very fast.
Yeah, and also currently in our Brindlewood Bay session Patreon tier.
Currently. It's a small tier. There's 5 of us.
It's just us and Snickerdoodle. All right, so it looks like you all just converge at the Candlelight Booksellers. Of course, like you had mentioned, sort of already had a portion of your day, and it's like 7:30, and they haven't even opened yet. So you have a key, so you go in, and it's upstairs, which somebody probably always complains about the condition of the stairs or the place or the fact that boxes keep showing up in your crime-solving zone. There's maybe like a string board that kind of keeps getting pushed to the back as well. So you get up there and maybe disgorge again your clues, and you find yourself sitting where you have read so many Robin Masterson novels about Amanda Delacourt and her Gold Crown mysteries. And this is not about Amanda, this is about you four. And those clues that you have gathered so far, or, kind of put them up on your string murder board, maybe is kind of a better way to, collect.
Yeah, our Pepe Silva board.
Exactly, your Pepe Silva board. So that includes the illegitimacy of one of the potential Greaves children, the recently remembered allergy of the patron of the Greaves family, Miles Greaves, to cranberries. The fact that Miles Greaves and Nathan Greaves were found with limited edition ornaments found in their hands or near their bodies when they were discovered. One of them was a vintage I Like Ike Santa ornament. The other one wasn't necessarily fully described, but it was near Miles's body. And then we also had the broken music stand with blood and hair on it, and that hair was brown, much like Nathan Greaves. Oh, and myrrh, of course, yes, and myrrh. That was given in the, so a small, cloudy, kind of rosy little lump of myrrh. What do people know about myrrh?
Literally just the one thing.
I know it's from the same tree that like gum arabic is from, I think, and it's used to make like perfume. Are the two things I know about it.
I know it's half of the word murder.
Yes, indeed. That is murder.
That's where it comes from.
Yes, indeed. That is the Latin root. Myrrh is a resin. Myrrh is, I think myrrh is toxic in like a certain amount of, whatever. Myrrh is connected to Smyrna, the like story of Smyrna, the like daughter. I think those are my notes. That's about it, that I had collected ahead of time. So.
And I'm assuming Octavia does share the myrrh. Oh, wait, no, it wasn't Octavia who got the myrrh. It was...
It was maybe.
Who got the myrrh?
Maybe myrrh.
Maybe got the myrrh, that's right. Yeah, because Octavia's was a dream. That's what I was going to ask. Did Octavia share her weird dream? But maybe would have shared the myrrh thing because that happened in real life, someone giving her the myrrh.
I feel like because that dream technically involved a mechanic that we're not going to be using too much, which is a void clue. That's what the tree filled with eye-covered ornaments would be in this instance. She might have shared that with y'all. That may or may not be important in the way that you resolve this mystery.
I know what the murder is. So, we know that for sure that Nathan was killed, and it seems fairly likely that Miles's death was also a murder. Do we know anything from anyone any of you talked to, or any of these clues we've gathered that could point to any kind of suspect or anything?
Well, I'm just an elderly person, but if someone could remind me, do we have suspects? Do we have people who we suspect of doing this heinous crime?
So it was pretty much anybody that could have been at the wake, most likely, is what Celia thinks.
Yeah, which is mainly like the Greaves family and some members of the Holly family.
Oh, so it's Celia, it is Ches. Apparently had shown up at one point. David, the vocal coach, was there. Oh God, who is the manager of the best?
Sam Cass.
Sam Cass.
There was a daughter of the Greaves family.
Alexis Greaves.
Alexis Greaves. And then
she was like a Paris Hilton type, right?
Yeah, she was a very social media oriented individual. There was Celia Ches, there's Sam Cass, who's the managing director of the Bel Canto. No one spoke to him, but he was dressed up like Santa, and he was likely entertaining a bunch of young children making their requests during that time. There's Rosella Swindon, who maybe had a conversation with. She's board president of the Bel Canto. She's the one who yelled at the children for not putting the programs at 37 degrees or whatever. Howard Hollidingle Holly, the marketing representative of the Holly Stamp Company. David Chen, the voice talent manager who I mentioned before. And then, yes, there are 3 Greaves adjacent individuals that none of you have met yet. And that is Winston Greaves. That is Miles's eldest son. That's Nathan's uncle. There is Alexandra or Alexis Windsor Greaves, Miles' granddaughter, Nathan's cousin, the one that's sort of always online, terminally online, I think is how I described her. And then Teresa Horn, who is Nathan's mother and Miles's daughter. The scion of the Greaves family is Winston. He's the one who's sort of adopted everything that Miles had before. There's Teresa, we can kind of get into their characters a little bit more if you want to talk to people about town and learn a little bit more about them. But you know that she's played more of a hands-off role for the Bel Canto.
Mm-hmm.
There's also Neighborly Ned.
Yes. A guy who is definitely written into this adventure and absolutely should be considered with suspicion.
And his like paint thinner that he's been passing off as eggnog.
Yes.
It could be worthwhile to talk to some of these people who are at the funeral. Winston is the one who seems to be the most likely to have gained something from Miles's death, but it wouldn't make any sense for him to kill Nathan, so he could be worth talking to. And there's his daughter. I'm assuming she's his daughter if she's Nathan's cousin, right? The Alexis.
Yeah, Alexis is Nathan's cousin, and it doesn't say what her relationship is to Winston, but I'm just going to say that she's
I would assume she'd be his daughter, right? Yeah. That'd be my guess. Yeah, because there isn't another sibling mentioned. Well, actually, no, there's the daughter, too, isn't there?
Well, yeah, but she's expressly only Nathan's mother, as described in this. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's Nathan's mother. Yeah, no, yeah, so. Yeah.
So we'll say it's Winston.
Yeah. So we could talk to Winston, or maybe that daughter of his who's always on that phone of hers, or someone could talk to Nathan's mother, but I'm not really interested in that. I was never great at talking to someone who's grieving, and she just lost a father and a son.
Well, I'm wonderful with people who are grieving. I'll take her on. What you gotta do is riddle them down, and I do mean riddle. Not whittle. Don't whittle grieving people. Never do that.
So you do know through general town scuttlebutt, I will say, that ever since Miles has passed, Teresa and Winston have been at the Greaves estate, sort of working things out. Alexis just got pulled away from what should be a 2-month stay in Ibiza. So she's pretty mad that she's in a place where their primary income streams are star chucks, whaling legally, and burning bicycles for profit. So she's still kind of wandering around the gala, probably at the Bel Canto Music Hall. She also was a Bel Canto bud, one of the kind of Mickey's Club of Brindlewood Bayers. So if you wanted to talk to her, you would probably go back to the Bel Canto. If you wanted to talk to Winston or Teresa, you would head out to the Greaves estate.
Do we want to split in two and have one group do each, or is there someone else that someone else thinks we should talk to?
I don't know about talking to her, but something about what you were saying, maybe about Rosella. I just don't quite trust her. Anybody who has the keys to the Bel Canto, really, that was, how did Nathan get in? I mean, maybe he had a key his own self, but the fact that they found him on the main stage before the day had really gotten started, I don't know, just someone to keep an eye on. Anyone who yells at kids, really, but...
And I mean, there's a managing director of the Bel Canto there as well, who handles a lot of their operations, right? There's Sam Cass. Mm-hmm. So he's probably still there, locked in the Santa dungeon, dressed as Santa. By that I mean just like consistently having children sitting on his lap pretty much everywhere he goes. Do we have maybe a team that wants to head to the Greaves estate? Are people interested in going to the Greaves estate? And then a team that wants to go to the Bel Canto? The only other place that, again, is around is the Rest Your Head boarding house. Ches is there, in case anyone hasn't gotten enough of him.
So that place is off limits.
Yeah.
And that is also where Celia is staying. And Howard Hollidingle Holly. And David.
Well, perhaps we ought to split then, like you were saying.
It's two heads are better than one.
I want to say Eustace, but I know that's not it. It's Eloise. It's Eloise. You were just saying
call her
that.
Thigh Master.
Eloise, yeah.
Perhaps, my bad.
Eustace. Stupid dog, you made me look bad.
Eloise, yes. Perhaps, as you were saying, we ought to split the party and go to the Greaves estate and also the Bel Canto. I volunteer to go to the Greaves estate.
Yes, you said you are good at talking to people who are grieving, and you've already tried your hand at talking to... I'm terrible at these names. Who was the director at the...
Rosella.
You've already tried your hand talking at Rosella, so I wouldn't mind seeing if I can get anything else out of her. And does anyone want to come with me and talk to her and possibly the owner?
Bingo, Octavia. No offense, but feelings will be hurt depending on what you say.
Split up who's going to the theater, who's going to the mansion.
This is a stare down
stare-off.
between me and Jeff. Who makes the decision first?
We're leaving all of this in.
Oh, yeah.
This is an entire mini episode, the drama of the hesitation.
We have a van we can get in.
I suppose I wouldn't mind taking a run at old Rosella. see what we can get out of her.
Then why don't I go with you to the mansion, maybe?
Excellent. You'll get a whiff of the old riddle grieving. That's what I call it when I say riddles to make people stop grieving.
Nothing heals the heart like hurting the brain, I always say.
I say that too.
All right, so let's do something. Let's go to the new spot. Let's go to the Greaves family estate. Just because I love a new location, because that means a new establishing question that I can pose to all of you as well. So the Greaves family home is a stately place just outside of town. It gives the impression of old money. There's rooms filled with antique furniture, cabinets stocked with pricey liquor, and grand portraiture looming over you. But they clearly haven't owned this property or weren't the original owners of this property. What do you see that indicates that this is not the Greaves' ancestral home?
Wigs. It's just like a bunch of those lawyer wigs on stands. You know, that they use in like...
Oh, like barrister wigs?
Yeah, in Europe over there.
Yeah.
It used to be a really fine collection. Like you know, people would own them like fine stamps and those eggs that are nice. Fabergé egg ones, yes. Good
Cadbury, eggs. I believe they're called.
I was going to say Cadbury. That was the first word in my brain. And I was like, that's not right. They also have just an assortment of wigs, and I think the family has taken to donning them when important conversations are happening, like in court or in the foyer.
I think there's a large, like, monogram filigree on the gate, but it's not a G. It's some letter that, like, is impossible for them to come up with an excuse for why they would put it on the gate. It's got, like, a Y or a Z or something. Like, something that clearly has nothing to do with their family, but they either couldn't get it off or it was too nice and they didn't want to.
I'm thinking of the BoJack Horseman episode where it's BoJack Horseman's house, so there's a BH, but they change it to Boreanaz's house so they can make it be David Boreanaz's place.
Yes.
I think there's a distinctly sort of Byzantine architecture influence that speaks to, I don't know, like an Eastern European sort of heritage to whomever originally owned the home. And that is decidedly not the sort of lineage that the Greaves descend from.
Especially because the roof on their house is just, it's clearly one of those Pizza Hut roofs. No matter what you do to the building, you always know that it used to be a Pizza Hut. So it's huge, it's beautiful, it's Byzantine, but that roof, like 4 stories up, still Pizza Hut.
Yeah, there's also a sign in the yard that says Greaves on it, but it's very clearly like the Blockbuster ticket sign, just painted over.
There's a small family graveyard, like off a little ways away from the main house, and none of the names in there are Greaves.
They're just so rich they collect dead people. That's why they have this.
Well, clearly somebody lived here for generations, but they haven't gotten around to refacing the stones. It's on the list.
Like the idea of just being like, you're my relative now, just putting a new headstone.
Well, no, what they do is they just dig them up and put the Greaves in and then type over the stone. So 2 of them have now been earmarked for Nathan.
One of them says Craig T. Nelson, and one says Carol Ann.
You beat me to the Poltergeist reference. I couldn't think of a good one.
You arrive. Obviously, you walk under the Z in there, on the arch over the really kind of dramatic. You're like Greaves, Greaves with a Z. Zagreaves. And you go up, and it is that sort of like kind of customary I'm not rich, I don't know, roundabout kind of driveway where there's like a water feature in the center and you can just kind of drive around and park. It's like you're so rich you want to bring like the joys of a roundabout to your house. That is sort of so yeah, you park. Who drove and what's your vehicle like? Or did you take an Uber?
I don't think maybe drives. I think maybe walks and takes public transportation and occasionally Ubers, as is required of an old lady. Or Lyfts, whichever is more politically appropriate. I believe it's Lyft.
See, none of us took the move that granted them a vehicle, so we're kind of,
That's fair.
What are we going to do?
What is this thing called?
Yeah, you'll just get one of those like senior rides then, where it's like one of those things where they come around and they can bring you to like a couple different locations. Mm-hmm. So it's like a smaller version of that city's transit bus.
Yeah, unless Octavia wants to own one of these. Because I think that would be hilarious, but
oh god,
I'd say transport bus would also be good.
Probably one of her husbands had one of those. No one knows how to drive that car.
Yeah.
So the Brindlewood bus drops you off at the Greaves estate because it goes out to the Greaves estate, and you walk up to a large door with a Z emblazoned on it.
And we knock.
All right. And the door creaks open. You see this sort of older, slightly stooped and deferential looking gentleman. Yes.
Oh, a man of, what's the word I'm looking for? Distinction, like myself. Congratulations, I love it. Hello, I was here to come see a friend, but now I'd rather chat with you. But also see the friend, I suppose.
That's good, my lady. I have much buttling to do.
Of course, don't let me get in the way with my wanting to talk and talk.
Who are you here to see? Is it... Are we here to see the lady of the house or the man? That's Teresa Horn or Winston Greaves.
Rita?
No, I'm not at the house, dear. Well, I mean, I'm at the house.
Oh my
but
god, that's right.
I'm not in the home.
That's
yet. I'm
this
just
old
kidding.
brain of mine.
I'm just kidding. We were definitely here to see them. Yep. Won't tell you which one. It's a mystery. No, I'll roll a dice for it. No, that's the key to being indecisive, is to play TTRPGs, so then you can let dice make all your choices for you. No,
well, I did want to speak to the grieving lady, but we don't have to speak together. We can just have traveled together. So if you would rather not speak to the grieving lady, then you can speak to the man.
I do think it would be good to speak to both of them as they have time, but perhaps only one of them is conveniently free in this moment, and we can talk to them while waiting for the other to be available.
Yeah, it sounds like you're going to split
nice.
the party. It's time.
Split the split.
It's an infinite party fractal.
Well, I do believe that Winston has a conference call he may or may not be on at this point, but I can check. Teresa's usually easy to find. She's crying in the conservatory.
Oh, wonderful. I love a good conservatory cry. CC, we called that back in my day. You would know, you being old also.
Yes. And, since you just established such fantastic rapport with the domestic servant that will go unnamed, he tells you a little bit about Teresa. She's Nathan's mom. She was like a single mom. She raised Nathan all by herself after his father died in a car accident. She's actually created her own niche business as a freelancer and works a little bit with the Holly Stamp Company She does some of their like productions and whatnot, and she actually assisted, he's very proud to say, in the retail experience of the Holly Archives at the gala.
Oh, yes, we just saw that last night. I didn't see it personally myself, but my friend here did, I believe.
Oh, yes.
Rita?
Indeed. It was quite nice.
My favorite is the Teapot Dome Santa. No one really remembers that Santa anymore. He was a scandalous Santa, but means something to me.
Ah, yes, a scandal sant.
Just love the idea of a Santa to commemorate the Teapot Dome scandal. Like the other companies have copyrights on like all of the good memories of Americana.
Teapot Dome.
All the good Santas.
Currently in talks to get the Hindenburg at one point.
Yeah, don't sleep on the Watergate elves. There's something special.
So yeah, let's say that you kind of go and see Teresa, and this is sad, but she's in her son's room. She's not actually in the conservatory. And don't worry, I'll make it less sad for you. So as you walk into Nathan Greaves' room, the first thing that you see is this woman sitting on a bed crying. And you're quite sure that this is Teresa. It's a no-nonsense baggy Christmas sweater, got some sensible flat-soled shoes, uncomplicated bob. She's just, everything else in this house is glitzy but sort of fading, and she seems to just be very uniquely and resolutely her. The next thing that you see are a bunch of fleece charcoal vests in a closet, and you also see a Wolf of Wall Street poster, as well as a poster of a Sports Illustrated model in a Bitcoin-themed bikini.
I also see a poster of Boiler Room next to the Wolf of Wall Street one, but it's got a big X over it.
And this is actually written in there. There's an anime body pillow on the bed.
It's written in there?
Yep, that's written in there. I changed the Gordon Gekko poster to Wolf of Wall Street, but no, I'm going to allow Mads C. Turley this. They wrote in that there's an anime body pillow on that bed, and boy, is that grieving mother crying right next to it.
Well, see, we can leave the the Wall Street one in because it is an anime body pillow of Michael Douglas.
So this is actually a scene as well that we get to establish and paint a bit more. Nathan Greaves was a finance bro in life. So what does his room tell you in death to that effect?
He has a Gordon Gekko anime body pillow. That is my addition to this room.
Let's see. I want to say an abacus, but I also don't want to say that. So I'm not going to. Circle back. Circle back.
An abacus he doesn't know how to use.
Yeah, no, it's just there. That's what finance bros have, I assume.
I think he's got a nice framed certificate, stock certificate with FTX that he was super proud of.
No.
Ouch.
So I don't know if anyone else's dad had these, but my dad wore cologne that came in like different odd
the
bottle
little
shapes.
things that looked like the middle part from like a level.
Yeah, no, they
Is
would
the
come
ones
in
I'm
different.
thinking of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some that would come in very different shapes. This one is in the face of everyone's least favorite South African, and it is called Elon's Musk. And you can tell that it was like really expensive and probably smells awful. But that is half used.
Okay, I'm posting this in the chat for you all to reference after we have finished recording. And then I will similarly post it in
The name of the.
Oh, it's a great song.
Oh, I know this song.
Excellent. I love this.
I do not, but I love the name already.
Check it out. It's a great song. A commemorative poster of the Zooey and Patty Harrison hit "Stop Being Poor" signed because I guess also Nathan does not understand irony.
Yes. As evidenced by the Gordon Gekko body pillow and the Wolf of Wall Street poster. He's like, this is great.
I think he has a stereo system, but it's a very modestly sized stereo system, except that there's one absolutely gigantic subwoofer just like taking up a corner of the room with like flashing like different color changing neon lights on it. So it's just like the whole thing. You wouldn't hear anything but bass if you turned this on.
Right. So that is what you see inside the room. We're keeping the abacus. He has an abacus. She's crying into the abacus right now, wiping her eyes with it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she looks up and is like, hello?
Oh, yes. Hello, dear. And maybe we'll go to sit next to her on the bed. If she'll like, kind of gesture, is this okay first? And then do it. Yeah, we're good. That's good, because she was going to do it anyway. Just, dear, it's me, your good friend, maybe. I am so sorry for your losses. Oh, it must be difficult, I know, when I lost my dear, dear wife, whose name I can't remember because of the grief. I was super, super sad. But do you know what helped me feel better?
What's that?
That's right, a riddle. So, I've got one for you here to think about while my friend looks around the room a bit. What is big and tall and also small?
The words big and tall written in 5-point font?
Maybe.
No, that's you. No, she's not that
it usually
witty.
works
She's
when
She's like, I don't know.
Oh, sometimes it does make the grieving process worse. Yes, I failed to mention that. My bad.
I don't have answers for that or this.
I am so sorry. I should have anticipated. Oh, well, we tried.
No, she honestly, like, you get the impression, and this is actually really sad, you get the impression that you feel like no one's really asked to see how she's doing in all of this. I mean, there's a lot of money in play with the Greaves family. So everybody immediately got into, in the most generous way that I could say this, the logistics of it. Whereas, like, the reality is most people are just trying to figure out how to recarve the pie. Because that's an analogy we use a lot.
Carve that pie.
Yep. So, yeah, and she's kind of seems relatively open to a sympathetic friend in a colorful muumuu. She turns to you and she says, I think my father had been waning for a while. He might have had more endurance, maybe if he involved Winston or the operations, or me, honestly, for that matter. And she looks back at the Gordon Gekko body pillow and is like, Nathan. Why did Nathan have to say such a daft thing at Dad's funeral? I have no idea what got into that boy, and now he's dead too. May all our days be happy and bright, huh? Maybe.
May they all be happy and bright, dear. Yes. Just out of curiosity, and I don't mean to cause you any further pain, but, since the riddle failed, I may as well go head all in. That's what they say. What did Nathan say at your father's funeral? Yes. What did Nathan say at your father's funeral?
I'd rather not repeat it. I know that some people have heard it before, but he brought up the accusation that Miles was murdered and didn't pass peacefully in his sleep. And that was the last word I heard from my son.
Of course.
Those were the last words I heard from my son.
He screamed it out all as one word.
One
Yeah.
screaming, unarticulated series of syllables.
If I recall, out of character, of course, from the voice, you had, Nathan was drunk and had said, "That's why we murdered him."
And that was in reference to we all loved him. That's
Oh, okay.
why we murdered him. Right. So it wasn't, that could definitely be something to parse from that. But as the person that was making that up on the fly, he was like, we loved him, or we all loved him. Yeah. That's why we murdered him. Right. It was specifically what he was said before he was, what he said before he was dragged down off the stage.
Yeah. So he was like mocking the
wake.
other condolences. Yeah.
What was his relationship, your son, with your father? Did they get along well before?
Well, I would say that Miles always appreciated Nathan's enthusiasm for business, even if he didn't understand the importance of things like investing a $50,000 trust into a My Little Pony themed coin. That said, out of everyone in this house, Nathan had the biggest passion to keep the Greaves family businesses going. So even if Miles saw him as a bit of a clown, and I say this lovingly, it's my only son, but they understood each other in a way.
I was glad to hear that, as I had heard, and I don't mean to sully the memory of anyone who's passed, but I had heard that Nathan was a bit under the influence, perhaps. And I thought, well, maybe he took it rather hard that his grandfather had passed. Or
Yeah,
just such a terrible sequence of events.
it was messy. He honestly doesn't drink that often. He's really into something maxing. I don't really understand what he's talking about. It's Sigma this and whatever that. But for a long time, I thought he was just drinking smoothies. So the fact that he's drunk at all is a little confusing to me. But at the same time, Dad's death hit us all in a pretty hard way. And Nathan really wasn't himself after Miles died.
Is it? Now, I don't mean to stress you out, dearie. If I do, we've got another riddle, and this will be better, I promise. Is it possible that perhaps someone has influenced Nathan, your son, in this drinking manner? Perhaps someone slipped a little something extra into his smoothies. Is there anyone like that, who might poison your son with alcohol? Poison with alcohol.
Unfortunately, as much as I love my boy, he didn't really need anyone else to stick a stick in his bike spokes. He managed to sort of mess things up for himself more than once. Not generally, like I said, with alcohol, but the way that he spent money, the choices that he made sometimes, for sure. So while it's out of character, it's not out of the realm of belief that he might have just been coping with, frankly, emotions that he might have never truly developed. I loved my son, but I'd say that empathy didn't come naturally to him. So you can also, we can RP as much as you want, but you can hustle her for a clue. If you would like to hustle her for a clue, you can. You can also use this moment to contextualize other clues. That isn't an actual mechanic. That is what you're already doing. So pretty much any time you would like to, we can turn this into a roll. I'm going to cut this out, but You can also kind of continue to have a natural conversation about understanding a potential suspect or victim, etc.
I mean, I'm fine with going to the roll.
Let's roll it.
Are you going to make us do presence again? Because it really feels like reason is like the reason for the season.
Okay. You
Well,
know
what
what?
if you're looking through his stuff, using your reason to find what he
Yeah,
might
maybe
found?
while maybe's distracting him, you're looking around the room.
No, I'm willing to roll something other than the same roll we've been doing that nobody put a point into, from what I understand. So let's roll with reason. And this is a meddling move. Let's put the pedal to the metal and see what you get.
Oh, that's an 11 total.
Nice.
Oh, that is just shy of a max success. So that is pretty fantastic. 12 and above is like, start getting wacky things up there. But again, I'll
Yeah,
cut
I was gonna
this
say,
out.
you had a 12, you like find a signed note from the murderer.
You get void clues at that point as well. And I mean, those are good in a larger campaign sense, but could also be a little distracting in a one shot like this. So it's kind of perfect that you got an 11. I am going to say that, so Teresa turns to you and is like, the most confusing thing about this is that I was supposed to talk to Nathan about trying to get some of his finance friends to help me figure out why there's so many checks missing from Miles's checkbook. Because I see this one, and this was written the day before he died. And then I see these 6. They don't have any dates. Sorry if I'm telling you that. I'm just thinking about my boy. So again, that clue is a checkbook that was discovered with several checks missing that belonged to Miles Greaves.
Awesome. That is strange. Do you know, I mean, your family, of course, I wouldn't be surprised, but did Nathan have a key to the Bel Canto? Would he normally go there so early in the morning?
I mean, I believe Nathan was helping out like everybody else. So he may have picked up a key at one point. It's kind of odd that he was getting involved at all, because he's never really cared too much about the Bel Canto. He talked about trying to turn it into a GameStop for some reason. I don't really understand what he was talking about, but so I mean, it was a little odd that he's been spending time there. But no, there really shouldn't have been any reason why he was there at that time. That's one of the most confusing things for me. We were supposed to meet that morning.
Again, I'm so sorry for your losses.
Alrighty, so this sounds like a good time. When you say you're so sorry for her losses, you see this kind of sympathetic look across her face, but she's like, if you don't mind, I need to spend some time with my sons. And, like, pulls a blanket over the Gordon Gekko anime body pillow. Effects. Think about how I'm going to sum up his memory. So she just politely asks you to leave. But conveniently doesn't take the checkbook that she handed to you away, because she goes back to using both of her hands to cry. And we're going to take this moment to TV magic cut back towards the Bel Canto Music Hall. And here we see Eloise and Octavia approaching the Bel Canto Music Hall. Do you all go inside? Are you interested in going there? Are you interested in going somewhere else nearby? There's also the Rest Your Head boarding house, like I said.
I think the 2 people we had in mind were Alexis, who we haven't seen before, and Rosella Swindon, who was kind of mean.
Rosella Swindon is there, and Sam.
Yeah, I was thinking like Rosella and Sam were the 2 I was thinking. because I figured we might find them in the same, like near each other, since they're both involved with the
Belcanto.
Belconte.
Yeah, it's Delacourt is the surname of the mysterious maven, which you all appreciate so much. All right, so you get to the Belcanto Music Hall again, and again there are poinsettias everywhere, lilies. There's like a 35-foot tree, like Rockefeller Center size, out front. There's nutcrackers sort of everywhere. And you do see that eternal, just like the trudging line of purgatory, or I guess limbo in this instance, because they're all children, kind of all on their way up to Santa, who is Sam Cass. So you do see Sam Cass back there. And I mean, it is no exaggeration when I say that he has got like a belly, like a bowl full of jelly, big white beard that's natural. He's kindly. He's got the ho just down just right. So you see him back there. Rosella isn't anywhere to immediately be found. And neither is Alexis, but you do know that she's here somewhere. So what would you like to do?
What do you think?
I'm not speaking because I was letting you decide.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I was too busy writing my theory for the...
Let's talk to Sam Cass. So y'all want to have a conversation?
Yeah, let's talk to Sam. Because we already let's do Sam.
So yeah, and Alexa, you actually hear she's doing a live stream or something. So she may be around, she may not be around, but you do know where Sam is. So maybe if you're interested in talking to Sam, you walk up. He, is right in the midst of a ho, and one of the teenagers who's conscripted to dress as an elf is like, "Oh, you kind of need to get in line. Maybe you explain why you're there." And
yeah. Oh, actually, we just need to have a quick word with Santa.
Aren't you all kind of old to talk to Santa? Says this 15-year-old.
Yeah. Well, see, that's why we shouldn't have to be in line. We have some important business with him that doesn't have to do with our Christmas presents. So maybe you let us cut in line, please?
Sounds like you want to roll with presents real bad.
Yeah, I got a +0 to this. Let's do it.
You got it. Do you have anything in your cozy little place that will give you advantage?
Oh, let me look at my cozy little place. I have a Thigh Master, a portrait of my first husband, a set of peg games, and a kettle with a cozy on it from maybe. So you know what? I think she hands him one of those little like triangle shaped peg games where you got to try to leave only one peg left as she's talking to him. And I already know what I rolled, so I know this isn't going to work as I stare over at my dice. But she hands him that and says, how about you try and figure this out and see if you're smarter than an ignoramus. As if anybody has seen the ones that they have at like the little old country store type ones. They have that and they have it like spelled out phonetically like that on it. And by handing him that, she rolls a 3. And does that add a number to it, or does it let me re-roll one of them?
What does dice, take the 2 best?
Oh, take the 2 best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I thought you said you rolled a 3 flat, and I was like, oh god.
No. Well, that's another 2, so that is, so I could take that instead of the 1, so that's a 4 total.
All right. Yes. Okay. So you did roll a 3 before, and now you've rolled a third die.
Yes. No, that was a
4.
Flat 3. That was a 2 and a 1.
That is not only that's a real failure you got here.
Yeah, no, that's a bad fail. She's literally trying to distract. I'm assuming there's like a whole line of kids waiting to see Santa too, and she's just like trying to hand this kid something to occupy his time.
Well, and that's what happens. So like you hand this kid this peg game, and then you hear, "Oh my God, the old lady's handing out gifts," and then you just hear this screaming, like pile of children, this roiling arms and mouths and eyes, Lovecraftian monster of children just kind of heading towards you. And the teenager is like, "Get out, just get out. You have to get out." So you have been kicked out of the Bel Canto. Both of you.
Wow.
So, I think that
amazing.
You see in the sky, between you two getting kicked out and the fact that the door to Winston Greaves' study, formerly Miles' study, is still locked, this might be a good time to put a maven signal in the sky and perhaps reconvene again. Because we are at 90 minutes of recording, and it's going to take you all a little while to work out the resolution there. So perhaps let's take some of your losses of not being able to get inside the Bel Canto, and the fact that you were able to talk to at least one of the Greaves kids, maybe reconvene again back at the Candlelight booksellers.
Yeah, I do think that once we get back to the cafe, Octavia does have one thing that she would like to try, because we haven't consulted the spirits.
That's
Yes.
true.
And we have a couple dead people. They're probably just hanging out. So once we get back to the cafe / bookshop, is that it's a cafe bookshop?
Every bookshop has a cafe in it. Come on, this is cozy.
Well, Octavia will sit down at their table. They have the section cordoned off for their book club, and she'll open up her oversized bag and take out a tarot deck, which she, of course, brought with her from her cozy little place, and just start dealing tarot cards to herself. Holding them up like that's on camera. That's not on camera. That's on camera. And so just sort of, and I was wondering if I could use the occult move.
Oh man.
You said
Okay.
you wanted to explore mechanics.
Yes.
I did say
Yeah. Let's hop to the occult move real quick here. Definitely put that in my notes because I assume that all of you would be doing that. All right.
Don't worry, it's nice and vague.
Yeah, it is super vague. So we're going to be hopping into a occult move. This is when you engage in an activity related to the supernatural or occult for the first time. Imagine what your actions would look like as a move, say what triggers the move, and then you're going to roll with sensitivity. So, all right, with that said, tell me, you've described what you're doing. What sort of spread? How many cards?
I don't know tarot spreads really, so I'm just going to draw one card from the actual tarot deck that I have on my desk.
I think there's one that's only like a 3-card spread.
Yeah, the only one I actually know, I think, is like 5 cards and then 4 along the side, which is way more than I'm going to do right now. So I'm going with the one.
All right, so flip a card and then roll me with sensitivity.
All right, and the draw is the 4 of coins from the Anatomy Tarot deck that belongs to my child. I'm using an item from my cozy little place, as tarot cards were listed on Octavia's cozy little place. So 3d6 plus 1 for sensitivity. Only a 6.
Oh no.
Okay. So
Someone's getting
it's actually
possessed.
not that bad. It's not that bad. Here's the thing about the occult move. This means that you all can never, these mavens can never do this move again.
Oh, wow.
And Sam, you have to mark a Crown of the Void.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, that's exciting.
Exciting for the sequel.
Indeed. So the Crowns of the Void, as again, we haven't drawn on this mechanic too much. Our mavens can mark a crown to get a higher level of success. But yeah, so in this instance,
Yeah, there is one that is tarot themed, I see.
yes, so we are going to be marking a Crown of the Void, which is going to affect Octavia kind of forever moving forward. Let me just pull up the whole... Okay, so yeah, we will mark one of your Void Crowns. We're technically supposed to be marking them kind of in order of the way that they go down. So you have to mark the first one, which I believe is Shadow in the Garden, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So mark
That's too
Shadow
bad,
in the
'cause
Garden.
Chariot would have been perfect since it's tarot.
It gets so much worse for you, though. Yeah,
it
I
gets
still
bad.
I still couldn't pull that up, but thankfully I still remembered Shadow in the Garden as the first one. So I don't know where my quick moves sheet is right now. So
The Shadow in the Garden just says, hereafter, during future cozy vignettes focused on you or your cozy move, scenes involving you, you must also narrate how dark entities subtly reveal themselves in the scene.
Nice.
That's a very this is fine sort of
this
move.
is fine. Yes. All right. So I guess like after attempting to contact kind of from beyond the void, what happens is you have a lot of really positive memories of using these cards, of reading for your past partners, for your friends, and for yourself. But this is the first time that you've touched them and you felt revolted. Like touching clammy skin, like touching just something so off-putting that it is hard for you to even envision gathering them up and putting them in your bag. And at that same time, you sort of feel right around the edges of your vision this just sort of softer darkness just around the periphery. It's probably just your eyes.
Octavia's gone a bit pale, and she sort of just stacks up her cards and then shoves them off to the side with a gloved hand. So, well done. I'm afraid the spirits aren't feeling particularly talkative today. We're on our own, ladies. We shall do it the old-fashioned way.
As we often do. Now, Octavia, dear, are you quite all right? You look askant pale.
Oh, it's just the old Ned's eggnog. I'm afraid it's follows
yes,
you.
It's turned.
Yes.
Yeah.
It sticks
The
around.
eggs have gone.
Yeah, that you drank yesterday morning.
All right, it sounds like it's time to theorize.
All right, ladies.
So let's start stitching these clues together. So when you roll a theorize roll, the amount of clues that you have versus the mystery's complexity affect if you have a benefit or a penalty to your roll. In this instance, because you have the same amount of clues as the complexity of the mystery, they zero each other out. If you had too few clues for the complexity of the mystery, that would impose a penalty for everyone that you have under the complexity, and accordingly, you get a benefit for everyone that you have over the complexity, if you had a surplus of clues. So in this instance, you are considering these 6 clues. Let's start hearing some theories. And you don't have to have it all put together. You could just start by, well, this clue and this clue and this clue work together in this way, and I have no idea how X factors in, for example.
I'm going to sound like a bit of a broken record, but that Rosella, what if she called Nathan or something and had him come to the Bel Canto early under some pretense, and grabbed a music stand and just, yeah, right in the dome.
So I will say about this, and this is the job of the keeper, which is to play delicate devil's advocate on these things. She did really want to downplay the whole murder thing happening at the Bel Canto and felt like it was really taking away from the gala. So there is something to be said about the fact that she may not want to commit a murder right on her stage unless there was a really good reason for her to kill him there and leave his body there.
I think of the publicity.
Yeah.
She's nothing if not a theater maven herself. But think of it, it'd be pretty cool for the show to have had a murder right there on stage previously. Right?
Well,
I like the idea of that as a benefit where you're like, oh, I'm going to a holiday gala later. And it's like, I don't know if I want to go. There was a murder. Oh, well, count me in.
Oh, the social media is going absolutely bonkers. Everyone would be there.
Social
maybe.
media. Makes me think of Alexis.
Yeah. Maybe Rita's on the right track, but the wrong culprit. What about that Ches boy? He's certainly strong enough to have beaten someone over the head with a music stand. And he also would have had access to the theater before it opened, being one of the players.
And was he a former bud also?
Let's say he was a former bud. Let's say he's a former bud. Why not? Let's have fun. Let's say he's a former bud. Why he developed that accent? It's after he moved away.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, maybe he moved away when he was young and then moved back, and that's also how he knew the niece, maybe. Because didn't he know Izzy's niece?
Ches knew Izzy's niece. I mean,
Right,
that's what you're talking
yes.
about, right? Yeah, not Nathan.
Yeah, because weren't they going to be married?
Yes, no, Ches and Celia were due to be married.
Yeah.
But what does that have to do with Nathan?
Maybe. Well, I know this is going to sound a little crass, but what if Nathan discovered that Ches had been cheating on your niece?
That's just like him, isn't it? Maybe.
Well, I'm afraid that the cat was already out of the bag on that one.
Yeah, that's actually why Celia came here in the first place. Because
Yeah, I was going to say, wait a minute, that was already well known.
And
Yeah.
Ches followed her here, so he...
Yes. Yeah.
I do think you all are on a good trail, right, with the Greaves, because
We still really haven't done anything with Miles, though. This is all
Yeah,
thinking of
that's the hard
Nathan's
part.
here's
stuff.
the thing is that you're not here to solve Miles's murder. You're technically here just to
True.
solve Nathan's murder. No
Yeah.
one has really posed Miles' death as necessarily a murder. He was a very old man.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been
Except
a lot
Nathan, though,
That's
right?
Yeah.
What's that?
What
Oh, except for Nathan.
if... Yeah. We know that Miles was allergic to cranberries and that Holly boy has a cranberry stand set up. What if Miles wasn't murdered? Maybe he just died from an accident. Got one of those little cranberry scented stickers on him, like the one that I still can't get off my other good cardigan. And Nathan just took things too far. In fact, like maybe said, what's her name again? The
Rosella.
director.
Rosella?
Rosella. Like maybe said, Rosella seemed aghast at the idea of a murder taking place. Maybe if Nathan was being too adamant that his grandfather had been killed when he had simply died of natural causes, it was putting a damper on the entire event. Maybe she took him out to stop him from ruining the celebration.
Yes, Rosella would have access to many a music stand. There we go. That's maybe's contribution. You guys are on your own.
So,
we do know that late at night, the Greaves and Canto staff were arguing late at night in the conservatory, arguing about something about the possible legitimacy of one of the Greaves' heirs.
That is true.
That, well, perhaps if Nathan was either the one who was being accused of being illegitimate or the one making the accusations, then Nathan would have had a motivation to alienate some of the competition, as it were.
And then that alienated competition came and did him in, as it were.
Alienated him back with a vengeance.
Alienated him with a sting.
So who truly has that motivation? Who has the motivation to kill Nathan?
Somebody who wants Alexis to stick around? If social media is bringing good business to the Bel Canto, perhaps somebody like Sam Cass, who we conveniently have been unable to speak to get an alibi, rather busy the whole time. Maybe he just... I mean, I hate the absence of evidence being what pushes us in that direction, but it's possible.
He has made a point of being both visible and completely unavailable this entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Suspicious.
True. And since he's playing Santa, he would have had to get to the Bel Canto very early in order to get set up. Meaning he could have easily been there to lure Nathan in before opening.
Oh, he's the manager. He certainly has a key.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be suspicious for him to have been there early, is what I'm thinking. Like, if anybody would see him, like, showing up at, like, 6 a.m. or something, it'd be, oh, well, I have to get there early because I can get everything set up for the Santa.
See, I like this theory, except I don't know if I can see why Sam would also, because this is, it's bad publicity for a thing on its 50th anniversary that is, it's like already as popular as it can be in this town to have murders at it. So I could see, like, I totally could see the idea of murders being attractive to Alexis, and maybe even her like online presence is like true crime. And this has like gotten her like really into that, and she's like ultra tone deaf about true crime. Then,
well, if she's about to launch like an only murders in the Bel Canto, like a tie-in kind of program, I mean, we could have collusion.
And maybe she maybe she planted the ideas in Nathan's head, both that Miles' death was suspicious and that someone else in the family was illegitimate.
She is an influencer.
Both of those, yes, both of those could be red herrings. Alexis could have tricked Nathan into believing both of those things as a way to stir up trouble and mystery within the family that she could then share on her Facebooks and other social medias.
We know Nathan wasn't a drinker normally, but what about Alexis? Might she have been passing around some of the eggnog?
Certainly.
so that leaves Myrrh, broken music stand, broken I Like
and
Ike.
even this is perfect, because if she's trying to make it look like there was like serial murders when there weren't, putting the ornaments in both of their hands to make it appear as though they had both been killed by the same person, while Miles' death was simply natural causes from being an old man who was around too many cranberries. And she herself killed Nathan. But by planting this false evidence on them, these mysterious ornaments, she both draws the attention away from herself and to the Hollies, or someone else involved with that, and creates the appearance of a larger conspiracy to make it more interesting for social media.
And, I wonder, because the first person we really heard about Alexis coming was Howard. He seemed like he might even be a little smitten with her. What if she knew that, took advantage of his affection, and somehow convinced Howard to kill Nathan? And then that also, like you're saying, with the ornaments, kind of puts the pressure off of her and onto him.
It could have been even that we know Howard had to set up that display, so he would have had to be in the building early too. He might not have killed Nathan, but she could have convinced him maybe to call Nathan to get him to come in and to let both of them inside.
And then once she was there, they did the deed with the music stand. Like, just hit him over the head with it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and she could even be attempting to frame poor Howard for these killings.
Well, Howard, with his cranberry book, is the perfect patsy for the fake murder of Miles.
Mm-hmm.
So how do the checks and the myrrh work into this?
Checks.
The checks made me
And the
wonder. Well, missing checks are suspicious, obviously, and Teresa wanted to find out what was happening. If Nathan was still drunk or something and mentioned that he's going to meet with his bros in the morning, whoever those checks were for would certainly be the ones with the motive to not want to get found out. Maybe Howard needed somebody to fund his book and didn't want that to be suspicious. I don't know.
Perhaps Miles had sent out some sort of missive to this Alexis girl to get him up on the social medias, as the kids say. Really get the name out there before his big event, like a birthday.
Maybe he was paying somebody to keep quiet about the illegitimate child.
Yes, that also makes sense. Yes, well done.
So Miles was paying someone to keep quiet that someone was illegitimate. Interesting. And maybe, so that information is known. And was that the way that they got him to get to the bel canto? Was that something that someone else maybe discovered or knew? I mean, again, the keeper's supposed to just ask questions.
Yeah. I was going to say, we also know, from the mother that, Nathan invested in really dumb stuff. Maybe Nathan himself had been convincing his grandfather to give him money for these investments of his. And maybe he originally was investing in something with Alexis, the myrrh. What if she was going to launch a perfume line?
I was going to say a myrrh line.
She is an influencer. Isn't that what those people do?
They do sell things quite often on the internet, as I've heard from my niece. That does make sense. I was going to say perhaps Miles murdered Nathan from beyond the grave.
Well, if only you had tarot cards to ask that question.
Yeah, but we can't.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Too soon.
Okay, so it does sound like there is this Franken theory that so far includes every clue. Can anyone kind of put it in a clear narrative?
Nope.
So, what if I really like the idea now that it's out there that Alexis is trying to make this look like more of a mystery than it is. I really like that. The only thing is that I can't fit into that perfectly is the checks and the myrrh, because the myrrh is so weird.
Well,
but
I think if we
The
go,
curfew line is solid.
I mean, she has access to Miles, and Miles was doing poorly. She could have been writing herself checks to launch the Myrrhfume line that ties in
perfume
with only Myrrhders in the bel canto.
Myrrhders is spelled with 2 Y's.
Yes.
Yes.
2
Branding
R's.
is perfect.
Well,
And also
One
2
one
R's.
Y.
They like to spell it with an extra Y.
there's an H.
3 H's.
Really spice things up.
12 Q's.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and when Miles passed away, she decided to take advantage of his passing to, well, first off, she would have lost her income source since he wouldn't be able to be around for her to be forging these checks or convincing him to write them for her or whatever she was doing. So she needed to jumpstart her only murders in the building. So she then planted the idea in Nathan's head that Miles had been murdered. And she put the ornament on him to draw attention to the Hollies. And poor Howard, who she had already been supposedly flirting with or whatever, and had access to something she knows her grandfather was allergic to. But maybe Nathan figured out that it wasn't a murder and confronted her. So she had to take him out too. And now we have a real murder that she can also tie into her existing story. And so she planted the ornament on him as well in order to try and make it look like it's some sort of serial killer.
No doubt she had Howard handle the music stand as well. His fingerprints are probably all over it. In addition to Maybe's, of course.
She could have even convinced him to be the one to put it back on the stand. Maybe she lied and said she got some cranberry sauce from one of his displays on it and told him to put it away before he got in trouble for making it dirty.
That leaves the illegitimacy rumor. That's the only thing that sits outside of that current theory. So where does it tie in?
Well, I like to think that maybe before Miles passed, that the illegitimacy thing was what she was going to be her mystery. Like she made that up. I think she made up the illegitimacy rumor as well. And maybe in investigating that was what led Nathan to realize that Miles couldn't have been murdered.
I like this.
Yeah,
All right.
she had a fake affair storyline going.
Yes.
Totally. Okay, so
And maybe
Mavens.
it was too obvious that it was fake. Like it was too much like TV-ish.
embellishment.
And Nathan figured it out. And that made him also realize that Miles couldn't have been murdered.
Well, yeah, when
This
he
is literally a
realized,
plot line from The Real Housewives.
yeah, he realized that the affair was fake and the legitimacy problem was fake, which made him realize that the murder was fake. That's brilliant.
Yes.
He stumbled backwards into the solution and had to die for it.
I mean, that is right. And that's the most appropriate for this style of show. So I think that's a fantastic. Does anybody have anything they want to add to that before you all roll on it? Because I feel very good about this. All right. I need a theorize roll. Well, let's talk about a theorize roll. Theorize roll. Let me pull this bad boy up right here. We've had that open freewheeling conversation. So this is a flat roll.
Don't we have? Isn't there a crown we can do where we can tie it back to a plot in one of the books that we were? Isn't that
So basically, like you can use a crown for this. So you can always use a crown, like a golden crown, to advance your tier level. But for this one, everyone has to use a crown if you want to advance your tier level on a theorize. So, and I strongly recommend that you do as one-shot characters, because if you roll a 6, we're going to have this conversation again. So This is the time. There's no way to get advantage on a theorize either, using cozy little place items, unfortunately. So somebody needs to hit me with a flat roll.
I think the only one who hasn't rolled tonight has Izzy rolled tonight on her birthday.
I have not rolled tonight.
It is time
Okay.
to roll, Izzy.
Yeah, I mean, you
It's-
kind of have to.
2d6.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's my birthday dice.
No pressure.
Got this.
I'm so nervous. It's a 7.
Okay, so that is a correct solution, but there is sort of an unwelcome complication to this that we could get into. However, if all of you would like to put on a crown, you can move this from the correct solution with caveats to the correct solution, and you were right the entire time.
I'm putting on a crown.
Give me my tiara.
All right, everyone. Does that sound like everyone wants to don a crown?
I'm down to crown.
It's don a crown.
All right, everybody. So we will get that 10 plus correct solution, and we're going to jump into the resolution of that. But real quick, I need a quick note from everybody on their crowns. So you're all crossing off one crown. Give me a quick vignette or scenario that satisfies that crown.
I will do a flashback of your fondest memory with your late partner. This is a flashback to a picnic that maybe and her partner, whose name I can't remember, so it's just going to be a mystery name, are at a park when there's like a kid's birthday party happening nearby, and maybe says to her partner, like, I just have the best idea. She's always been old. She looks much younger, but sadly still old. What if we were to come up with some riddles for those children over there? You know, children love riddles. And her partner says, I don't think that's true, actually. I think that's a lie. And no, trust me, mate. Trust me, dear. It's true. So let's come up with some riddles. And she's like, well, you don't really know how to do riddles. That's not your... Yes, it is. And so maybe, and her partner come up with some riddles. And like it's the first and best one. When the sun sets upon the eastern river, look to the sky and you shall see I. What am I? And her partner says, does that even have an answer? And maybe says, maybe. And that's it. That's the end of the mystery. I meant flashback, but no, also mystery.
And a golden crown.
Shoots out of her head.
So good.
I think Eloise flashback, the second one down on here, is showing how you were an imperfect sister or daughter. And I think as they're puzzling out this mystery, she has a flashback to a time when she was a older teenager or maybe young adult, because of the time it would have been. Like maybe she was like early 20s, of getting in a very bad car crash. Like she was okay, but the vehicle was completely totaled, and lying to her father about what happened as she's thinking about Alexis and her making up all of these stories for drama. And she thinks back to like a deer jumped out and she had to swerve and she hit this pole, and it totally wasn't because like an attractive young man drove by and she was trying to race him. And she just has this memory of telling her father and him like nodding, and she could tell that he didn't believe her, but she never tells him she never told him the true story, and she kind of regrets that now. And that's what she thinks of when she thinks of what's going on currently with this mystery. That's her flashback.
And another tender golden crown joins the halo corona above your mystery solving.
So, of all the mavens, the only one not to have talked about her partner in the previous episodes was Rita. And I think it's because it wasn't a particularly long marriage, but her flashback to her fondest memory of her late partner is actually when her partner proposed, and she, as a former flight attendant, had, sometimes you end up with the same crews, and so she had actually started to develop this sort of budding romance with an airline captain, and when he, they would have time in airports together to get meals here and there, and grew closer and closer together, to where at one point he actually proposed to her with those silver pilot wings that she has in her cozy little place.
Aww.
Instead of a ring. I mean, she did get a ring eventually, but she always thinks fondly to that day when she's sentimental.
All right, Noctavia.
Octavia's flashback is to her fondest memory with one of her children. So we're going back to a beautiful spring day, and Octavia is standing on the sidewalk just outside, like, the fence of an elementary school, and there's a bunch of kids, like, running and playing and throwing each other around and making all sorts of noise. And she's just, standing there watching them for a while, resplendent in her pink skirt suit with matching wide-brimmed hat, veil over her face. And then eventually she gets bored of the kids and continues on to the martini bar down the street, because she never had any children. But her third husband, Seymour, is waiting for her there, and they share drinks in a delightful happy hour on just a beautiful day sitting on the patio.
All right, and with those 4 Golden Crowns memories from the deep hearts of our mavens, we have pushed this theorized roll from a meager 7 up to a 10 plus with the correct solution. So, with the power of television magic, all of our mavens are transported back to the Bel Canto Music Hall. And the first thing that they do is put the screws to that soft boy, Howard. They know what part he possibly played in this in some way or another, but they're going to make him pay regardless, primarily because they can't get the stickers off of their cardigans. And they get him to call Alexis and have her show up. And the moment that, you can maybe get them to have an incriminating conversation of some type on the phone that you're all listening to and recording. And she walks him through the door and is immediately arrested, tackled by all sides. I mean, Brindlewood Bay, for some reason, only hires 6.5 foot taller, like, linebackers, nothing but linebacker. And they just immediately tackle this person.
Yeah. They drive up in their Bearcat that for some reason they were given as part of the budget.
They wait for the local book club to solve the crimes, and then
and then they go with the most excessive of force. And as she's getting dragged out, the last thing she says was, "I was going to be a sensation." And then they throw her in the Brindlewood Bay wagon and take her away. And you solved a mystery, Mavens. You did it. You brindled the bay.
Yeah. We are so smart.
This may also be the longest single recorded session that we've
Yeah,
had at this point.
2 hours.
So, with the murder solved, the Myrrhders being dragged off towards the stockades that they still use in Brindlewood Bay.
this place is dark.
Just throwing all of their stuff into the street as she goes by. Yeah, so I guess until the next time I get the pleasure of saying this, I'm going to bed, Mavens.
Good night, Zach.
That's nice, dear. Good night.
Good night, Zach, and have yourself a merry little murder.
Get plenty of rest.
Don't forget to wear your socks.
You don't want to catch a cold in the night.
You literally will catch a cold in the night and die. That's what happens to young men without socks. Or, yeah, also.
Or the bees. Yes. That's going around with young men who don't wear enough clothing.
You'll get stung right on the foot, you will.
Octavia and someone else can have a break off. I'm going to continue to put that accent on your character's name. It's now just burned into my brain. I don't know why I feel. Okay.
No one who wears a hat like that calls themselves Octavia. It is absolutely Octavia.
It's Octavia.
There.
Octovia.
Octavia sounds like some kind of hair care product.
Totally.
Octavia.
It is actually what she uses in her hair, canonically.
Octavia. It's made by wringing out an entire octopus. That's how you get all of the.
It is not sustainably stored.
No. It's very cruel. It's a very cruel product.
PETA just hates it.
I think I want. Oh, sorry. We're old ladying over each other.
I just made some not so neighborly, lightly neighborly eggnog earlier that I put in the fridge and have pulled out. I have a bad track record of drinking anything sweet that's also alcoholic. Like I get a headache immediately, but I just kind of feel obligated to get into the spirit. So if you see me choking down 6 ounces of some unknown fluid, know that
Knocking
I'm still
back the
enjoying
nog.
this. Oh. God damn it. I was supposed to let you choose a clue. So that's going to get added in there as well. Like the swears are going to get taken out. So
No, this is our explicit arc.
this is true. I was late on that clap.
Yeah, me too.
My clap was weak.
My clap was great, but now
I
it doesn't
know.
matter.
It was a brave clap that led all of our other claps.
Great. I will talk louderly because my roommate just started singing.